Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you a brand new tool from Ingersoll Rand in their IQV20 lineup. This is the W5330 Cordless Right Angle Impact tool. Now basically what this is the cordless electric version of their already popular pneumatic series Hammerhead impact tools, and they're able to fit a ton of power in a very tight space. The head on this is a little over 2 inches thick, but it puts out up to 180 foot-pounds of torque. So if you're working on a suspension or down inside an engine bay where a standard impact just won't fit, and you're stuck using a ratchet or a breaker bar to get fasteners free, this is going to get in there and remove those fasteners and save you a lot of time and a lot of trouble. Now it comes with 3 different varieties. The W5330 is the bare tool itself, but what I got was the kit, the W5330-K1, that came with the tool, a battery, a charger, and a protective case. And then if I wanted 2 batteries, I could have got the K2. That would have came with 2 batteries, the tool, a charger, and the case. So I'm going to show you next what comes in the kit, and then I'm going to show you clips of this in action. Here's the case itself. The case is made out of very heavy-duty blow mold plastic and will stand upright with no problems. It does have a real nice carrying handle, as well as 2 latches on the top that hold the case together. We'll pop those latches open, the case will unfold, and inside you have the tool itself, the W5330. Then you have a 1.5 amp hour battery pre-installed. If you had gotten the 2 battery kit, there's a battery bay right here where that would be in place when you open the lid up. Now if you're like me, you may have an additional battery. This is a 3 amp hour battery off of the W7150, and that will slide right in place and the lid can close with no modifications needed. So if you have additional batteries, you can carry one with you, and you're not going to have to worry about modifying your case to get it to fit. Inside they also have the battery charger. When you plug a battery in here and you're charging, indicator lights on the front will tell you what the current charge is, and then when it's fully charged, it's going to let out a real loud beep so you'll know that the battery is fully charged. On the side of it, they have a USB port where you can plug in a USB cable to charge either your phone or your tablet, and you're not going to be using an additional wall outlet in order to do that. In the lid, they have numerous pieces of literature. One is a product safety information for cordless impact wrenches in general. They have a 1-year warranty card, a parts diagram, and a parts list. So if anything breaks, you'll be able to order the correct part, and it will show you exactly how it goes back together. And then they have the cordless impact wrench product information for the W5300 series tools. That would cover the 3/8 inch as well as the 1/2 inch variety of these. Now, a real nice feature about Ingersoll Rand cases is that the lid is removable. They have a spring-loaded hinge pin here that you can pull to the side, and the entire lid will slide off. So if you wanted to keep this on your workbench or you wanted to put it in your toolbox, you can do that. And then if you need to go somewhere, you can slide the lid right back in place, push the pin back over, and now the hinged lid is reattached. So you can close the latches at the top and then carry it on. Now, one other thing I want to point out with this is that they do have accessories already with these. A big problem with impacts in general is that they'll get very beat up. In a nice finish on an Ingersoll Rand one, you don't want to do that. So they do offer protective boots already for these, even though they're brand new. This is the W5330-boot, and this will fit right on the head of this. I'm going to put that on before I actually start doing any testing. And a real nice thing that they just came out with were boots for the batteries themselves. So the boot for the battery actually just slides right on, and it's a one-hand operation with no heat or special tools needed. It will fit in the case and the lid will shut without removing it. And you know, it's something that will save that battery and save your battery from getting beat up and damaged, because you're going to have a protective boot on that also. Next, I'm going to show you the W5330 in action, and I think we're all going to be amazed at the amount of power that this tool puts out. If you've got a riding lawnmower, or you actually might have a landscaping company or do small engine repair, you know how hard it is to remove the blades from the mower deck itself, or even underneath of a push mower. You normally have to wedge something in to keep the other blades from turning, and then with a large ratchet or breaker bar you can break the bolt free. But I'm going to show you with the W5330 that you can pop the blades right off of there with one hand, and it's really no problem whatsoever. I'm going to pull this riding mower up on some car ramps, and then I'm going to show you the normal way to remove the blade, and then I'm going to show you the W5330 way of removing the blade. Okay, here's one of the mower blades that's underneath the deck. It's held on with a 24mm nut. And the problem is, if you put your ratchet with a standard socket on that nut and try to loosen it up, the only thing that's going to happen is the blade is going to turn on you. Because the only tension is on the belt itself that's on the mower deck, holding this to the spindle. So nothing is going to prevent the blade from turning when you try to loosen it up. So normally what you have to do is put a piece of wood or something in here to wedge the blade from being able to turn. I'd normally use a pair of vice grips. So I'm going to take the vice grips now, clamp that on the blade, and then line it up with the mower deck, spin it around, and you can see them wedging over here against the side of the deck itself. Now that they're wedged, we can put that socket on there with a long ratchet, and then with some force, there, it breaks free. It's normally held on, I would say, at least 100 foot-pounds of force keeping these on after they've been spinning around, so it's not something you can do with a short ratchet. And then to tighten it up, it's the same way. You have to wedge something in the opposite direction, because when you try to tighten it up, you'll see this vice grips is just going to turn and pop right off of there. So it's not correctly tensioned at this point because the vice grips popped off. I would then have to take them on the other side and wedge it in place in order to tighten this bolt back up. So now I'm going to show you how quick it is with the W5330, how to remove and install these with one hand, and you don't have to wedge anything. Okay, this is the center spindle on this 60-inch deck. You can see I can barely even reach out to touch that nut, and it would be very difficult for me to wedge anything underneath of here because the mower is up on some car ramps. But I'm going to now use the W5330. I'm going to reach under here, place it on that nut. All right, it's on there. It's on reverse, and we'll see if it'll pop it out. You can see it popped it right free. This is the 3/8 version, and I am using a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter. So if you had the 1/2 inch version, you would actually have a little bit more torque, but it did pop it free with no problem at all. And when we want to put it back on, just line the bolt back up. You'd be better off to hand thread it in if you can get to it. But I'm going to line it back up. I'm going to go real slow. There, it's catching, and I'm going to just tighten it back up now. There you go. The blade has been reinstalled, and you would be good to go. This is a very quick and easy way to change lawnmower blades. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to remove the wheel as well as the brake caliper bracket off this 2001 Lincoln LS. I have verified the torque on all 5 lug nuts at being 90 foot-pounds, and I'm going to lift the car up now and attempt to remove the lug nuts as well as that brake caliper bracket with the W5330. Okay, here we go. Now, as you can see, it removed all 5. These lug nuts have some kind of, I guess, like chrome coating on them, and they were actually getting stuck in the socket. But the W5330 removed all 5 with no problems. I'm going to now try to attempt and remove that brake caliper. Okay, when I pop the wheel off, I notice there's an upper control arm, and there's a bolt going through it. So this is an 18mm nut, and this is an 18mm bolt. I'm going to take an 18mm wrench, put on the bolt itself to keep it from turning, and then I'm going to put the W5330 on that 18mm nut, and we'll see if it'll break it free and remove the suspension bolt. You can see, pops it right free, no problem whatsoever. Okay, here is a brake caliper bolt. I'm going to go ahead and stick a 12mm socket on there with a universal joint, and we're going to see if it'll remove that. Popped it right out of there, no need to use a wrench. Okay, I have a 15mm deep well socket along with a 6-inch extension going back to the 5330. I'm going to try to remove this bolt now that is holding the actual brake caliper bracket on, and we'll see if it's going to break it free. Took it right out of there, no problems at all. So now you've seen the brand new Ingersoll Rand W5330 Right Angle Impact for yourself. I did put the protective boot not only on the tool, but on the battery also, and I can see from the amount of scuffs, grease, and dirt on here that they really do protect it, and it's going to keep that finish looking much better for a lot longer. One thing I want to point out about a protective boot though, whether it's this or any other impact, when you have those on the tool, those blow mold cases are designed for the tool with nothing else on it. So when you put this on here, it's actually making it slightly bigger, and it's not going to fit in the case the same way. So if you're going to be hauling this around with you everywhere, you really might want to think about that, because if you put a protective boot on there, you're either going to have to modify the case or you're going to have to press the lid shut. Now, if you're always using it in the same location, the boot is a great idea, but don't get the boot and then think that it's going to fit in the case perfectly, because it will not, just like any other impact will not. Now, one other thing I want to point out, if you buy one of the kits with the batteries, whether that's the Dash K1 or the Dash K2 kit, it comes with the 1.5 amp hour compact batteries. And with those batteries, it's going to put out about 170 foot-pounds of torque. Where if you use the 3.0 batteries, which are the high capacity batteries, it's actually going to bump that up to 180 foot-pounds of torque. So just depending on what you're working on, that really may make the difference. If you like this video, please click like. If you like my channel, please click subscribe. And thanks for watching.